I'm doing a spiritual vlog right now. By spiritual, I mean it's of the spiritual energy. That's the higher level of being and consciousness. Just to remind you about the terminology that I've learned to use. I've chosen to have my words carefully selected, because there's a lot of overlapping. It's not anything which is a conspiracy, let's say. It's merely due to the mixing of cultures and languages. There's myths about how that happened. But suffice it to say that when you have a mixing of cultures, as, for example, the United States of America, there's a melting pot of language as well as ethnicity, if you want to call it that. The blood, the genetics, as the science of analyzing genes, and the language becomes a mixture. We adopt words, the words change over time, they morph. Spirit is very interesting as to its origins. I'm not going to get into a lot of the details right now, but from a very early time I realized I was spiritual. I was raised in a modern society. I was socializing quite a bit. I started out a little bit shy, but then I became immersed in many associations with my peers and many friendships. They're influential to me. I still think about childhood memories. These formative phases that we go through, from the early childhood into adolescence, they are more vague. That's why they say children are innocent. Children are more aware. You have certain kind of people that sway towards a sentiment of children being more right than adults. But in this very vague state of being, when we start out in the world, we don't really know where we stand. We're trying to know. We're becoming what we're going to be. We are in this state of transition. I may have been spiritually aware to some extent when I was a child, but I had to choose that. It's something that you grow into. Now, my spiritual message today has to do with realizing the causes of things in your life. And the primary cause that it always leads back to is your own actions. And that is the phenomenon of karma. Not a phenomenon by the proper definition of that word. It's actually a noumenon. A noumenon of karma creating the series of ongoing experiences that is your life. The present state of things at this very moment is something that you created either mindfully or choosing to be unaware of what it was going to become. If you realize cause and effect, if you calculate it out, and I mean planning it, premeditated, then you will look at your reality at any given point and say, I created that, I did that. And by the same token, I must remind all of you out there are no mistakes. There's nothing that's in your life that is an accident that we should be so surprised about. Surprise, or the erroneous claim that something was unexpected, an unexpected accident, that's just the person who chooses not to be aware. Our actions and how we conduct ourselves, how we carry ourselves, how we operate in this body. You need an operator's manual. This body can be compared to any of these machines that are out there, but why don't we look at the body like that? We have to just flip reality around like a mirror, like a camera, watching yourself live. I'm seeing myself in the screen over there, the live screen. Sometimes I check. Some people are obsessed with that, like selfies, but those are just photos. Selfie videos, like all vloggers know. You get to see yourself. You get to... That's good, because you got to check yourself. But if you look at all the machines that are new, and you see that it has to have an instruction manual, it has to have specifications laid out, we're getting off track. We're getting distracted because the only one, the main one that we need to be concerned about is this one. The one that you're in right now. This one that looks like this form, created in this image. The image of the Creator. God. The Supreme Being. Elohim. Male and female together. Yin and yang in balance. No duality, just the creative principle, creatrix, the source. So these forms were created for us to live through it, to breathe, to experience, to move, to do all kinds of things that we do. Look at the sports world. You've got all this variety of what's going on. And you've got the stars of that. Wow, look what he just did with his body. Look what she just did. You can only dream of that. The rest of the population is like a double somersault 360 since whatever at such a high rate of speed. These people spend all of their time training. It's what can be called an adept. Cause and effect, and using our bodies in the right way, being aware of whatever we cause in the world. Now, let me just put in a disclaimer, because I know the way people think and how skeptical you can be, and I support that. I want you to be more skeptical, and I fully can predict that you'd be having certain thoughts because of that. So I'm going to address those thoughts, those doubts, those skeptical questions. No, my life isn't perfect. I know about these things that I'm telling you, but yet I still have accidents. Still, there are things that happen to me personally, directly, and also with people in my circles. But it doesn't mean that I don't know about these things. I know about them. I know what the cause and effect is. Can I prevent it by planning out perfectly? Yes, in the future, but right now, no, I can't. There's a lot of chaos that's still swirling around. So that should give you some sense of comfort. The one who's teaching you, the one who's helping you along, I am with you on the spiritual path, and you can relate to me. If you couldn't relate to me, we would have a big problem. We have to relate. We have to have this kind of a relationship. It can't be any other way. I have to be human, as they say. I'm only human. That's the phrase. You got to put like a qualifying to human and attach it to describing yourself and say, well, I'm not this perfect, omniscient thing, being, entity. I'm just like anybody else. I'm only human. And being only human, sometimes we get lost, we get confused, we feel alone, left out. We feel frustrated and small. We feel helpless. But there is help by reaching out, like grouping together and going over these teachings. That's what I offer. I can teach you by bringing you back to yourself. You have to realize what is the cause and the effect of all things. Take a look at your life, and you're looking at these things and saying, here's an effect. How did this happen? It's a bad effect. It's something that I don't choose to keep going through. Great. That's the best thing you've ever said. You're going to put a stop to the pattern. But the only way you can do that is by changing the causes. You are also the cause. What you're doing. Whether you look at it as behaviorology or you look at it as other influences or you look at it as somewhat random, it doesn't matter. Just connect things. One thing leads to the other. Okay, here's this. Where did it come from? I don't know, but just in itself, focus on that thing that's the cause, that action, that habit, what you're doing, and then it leads to whatever the effect is. If you don't like that effect, it's only you that can change it. There's no accidents, there's no mistakes, there's nothing that can't be explained, there's nothing that was really unexpected or surprising. You just chose not to be aware of it. You choose to live so that you're aware of certain things, like when the football game is going to be on, or when I need to like something on Instagram, but you're not living grounded in your own body from moment to moment, because that's all we really have. Even this video right here, I recommend that you don't get too deeply into this video. We need to be together. I've been putting out statements on Quora.com right now stating that video is not enough. It's quite inadequate. I dabbled in it, from the beginning. There was Atom Films, there was Sharkle, there were a lot of things, In the early 2000s, you went from probably that year itself, 2001, 2002, and up until about 2005, before YouTube broke out onto the scene and really capitalized on it with its perfect, timely formula. It became the next stage of the web. But in dabbling with this now for over 16 years, because I know that I got started in the late 90s with the bulletin boards and sending out little primitive image files, and what was it, like 32 kbps internet, floppy disks and all that, and the cameras weren't even digital, so there's all kinds of crazy conversions that had to be done. I've dabbled with it, and it's an art form, it's media, and it's primarily technology. But that's what I just said about the body being really the main thing. We don't need to keep reaching out for all these metaphors just to bring us back to reality and sense, common sense of what we have. You have the best technology built into you. This is a gloriful thing. The spirit should be in control of it. The spirit resides in this temple. It's holy and it's sacred if you keep it that way. And you will only get what you want if you plan it that way, if you have that intention. If you want to be surprised, if you want to live haphazardly, if you want to be distracted by everything, if you want to give away your life to all these little technologies and every other new website that comes along, or new fad, a new trend, whatever it might be, then you're going to lose out in the end. Because what I've been recommending all along is nature. Let go of all this stuff and come back to nature, your own nature, and that's what is the key to the best life, the enlightenment, wisdom, nirvana. Meditate with me on these things. Come together with me. We're going to have gatherings, because if we're separate, there's the danger that we give up. We are being isolated by these machines right now, by this technology. We're being isolated. The video here is not to continue to isolate you. The video contains a message that actually is totally ironic to what the video is. I'm not telling you video is the answer in this video. Watch more videos. I'm telling you that video is just a transition to get back to what was real. We can make videos together. That is the next step. And then more and more it'll start. I'm turning the technology, I'm turning the internet inside out for the benefit of the real life. And that's my spiritual message to you. Thanks for listening. Sorry, I'm just in a little bit of a rush to get out of here, being that it is video.